Gregan, saying exactly what they have to do in the next 10 minutes of this extra time in World Cup 2003.
Interestingly enough, you see Eddie Jones down there talking to his players, giving them, just geeing them up, going through the specifics of what he wanted, whereas Clive Woodward has decided to stay back and leave it to the team themselves, leave it to the experience of Martin Johnson to get up there and push his team and work them to where they need them. Will the English, they've been so close but haven't got it, will they come away with a victory?
Johnny Wilkinson, 4 successful penalty attempts. Cat has missed a drop goal. Wilkinson's also missed with 3. And just the 1 missed conversion from Wilkinson. Elton Flatley getting that late penalty to level the scores at 14 all and getting 3 penalties in that second half.
Everyone at the ground is on the edge of their seats at the southern end of the ground. All the English supporters waving their flags and their banners. They know there's 10 minutes to go, and Eddie Jones, he knows there's 10 minutes left in this match for Australia to turn it around.
Isn't it amazing? They've only got 5 minutes for the break. Both teams only used 2.5. They're out there waiting. They're just so keen to get into this game. They want to get it over and done with. And look at the head on Martin Johnson. The last time I saw something like that, it was on a poster at the post office with "wanted" underneath it. But if he wins it, he'll be the most wanted man in England and the most treasured.
Wilkinson, this is the kick that put his side back in the leads. And clearing the crossbar by about a metre.
This is the run by Mike Catt. Look at the power of setting up Delalio. There's the patience and also the urgency of the England side, which was getting in behind the Australian advantage line.
The experience of Matt Cobain has shone through since he's been on the field, plugging holes when Australia was leaking. And Harrison with a desperate attempt to charge down the drop goal, and Wilkinson going wide with his attempt. Clive Woodward, he's put 6 years of preparation as the England coach into this Rugby World Cup final, and we still have about 50 seconds or so before play resumes.
Interestingly enough, Gordon, at half-time, we saw that Eddie Jones was down with the team, getting in amongst them, talking to them, geeing them up. Clive Woodward, you could see him up in the stands. I don't think he can contain himself. He stayed up there and let the hard man, his hard man in the front, the man who's led them all the way along. Eddie Jones, the face on him, he can't believe what's going on here. Martin Johnson's out there, he's controlling the team now. Clive Woodward's left them alone. Eddie Jones, it's in the lap, knows it's in the lap of the gods.
But what a way to finish this World Cup 2003.
10 minutes of extra time to go. England enjoying a 3-point lead. They're watching in Swaziland at the Glen Rand Stadium. A big screen. And also at Birdsville at 50 degrees at the moment, sub-zero at Casey Station in Antarctica. The heat here at Telstra Stadium, though, is white hot. The Richter scale is off the meter.
This is where Australia have to be clinical. They must win their set pieces.
For me, I feel really Australia have to start chancing their arm now. They're down in the territory, they can build the phases. Australia win the line out.
Gitto wide. Flatley to Takiri. England with 3 defenders waiting, but Australia clean out well. Gregan quickly to Smith. Will Greenwood throws him to ground with a shoulder throw. Cobain's pass picked up by Young. Little knock on, said Andre Watson.
There was no halfback for the Wallabies. George Gregan wasn't there in time.
This is where the fatigue will start setting in. These players will be virtually out on their feet. When fatigue sets in, the mind starts to go. When the mind goes, they start to make mistakes.
Dawson has a look back at Gregan, who's not even bothering to follow the ball round, which he's entitled to do. Wilkinson, again, in behind the Australian right wing. Lottie Takiri is back there. Now Robinson with a quick throw to himself. It's only got to go in 5 metres. And Australia wrap him up. Takiri was one of them. 8 minutes remaining. Mike Katz still in the ruck, so he can take his time. And it's back for Dawson. Greenwood with low body height. 10-metre line, Australian territory. England just happy to play rugby league at the moment. Now Katz. Tried to offload, it was a bad decision. Australia back in possession. Knock on both ways.
Well, it was a good opportunity too for the Wallabies to counter-attack off that turnover. Mike Catt looking for the offload. George Smith getting his hand in the way.
And a cramp for Justin Harrison. England 17-14 in the second period of extra time. And Matt Dunning coming on for Bill Young.
What a great experience for this young man. He's played one game in the World Cup. That was his debut. This is his second.
Matt Dunning in the white headgear for Australia, on for his second test match. He played against Namibia, but this one multiplies about 25 times as Gregan gets it over halfway. Takiri's coming through. And Australia will get a line-out throw.
Quick thinking, George Gregan. As Richard Hill goes down with cramp. Richard Hill did well to slide on the ball. Gregan knew he was covered and just slid it in behind Ben Cohen to allow Takiri to come through and put England under pressure.
Stephen Larkham coming back onto the field for Australia after another visit to the sin bin. Gitto off.
Well, he's been off to the blood bin.
To the sin bin. Gitto off.
Well, he's been off to the blood bin twice in this game, Stephen Larkham. He's back on now, and Gitto's done well since he's been on, but Stephen Larkham needs to be on the field the last 7 minutes for the Wallabies. Look at him directing play, calling exactly what they have to do on this play.
Lewis Moody coming on for England now. Richard Hill had cramped up there. Will he be the man to depart?
Yes, he is. And Andre Watson is making sure that England don't slow the game down. Australia want to lift up this pace.
And also making sure they haven't got 16 men. Moody gets the ball immediately.
Crucial turnover.
Wilkinson. But Takiri was waiting for this one. And Matt Rogers sending it over halfway, and England with the line-out throw on the 10-metre line.
Doesn't the time tick away quickly when you're playing extra time? Already there's only 6.5 minutes left in this World Cup final. Clive Woodward, he wants to be out there.
Here comes Dunning. Flicked it back. Bit of soccer skill there from Matt Dunning. Now Australia and Larkham out wide to Mortlock. Rogers here and Takiri. He got the first try. Robinson stayed with him. And Wilkinson back in possession. Jason Robinson doing a grand job in defence.
Desperation from England's defence. Takiri wanted to take them on out wide. Perfect pass from Stephen Larkham. Look at that right out in front of Mortlock. Mortlock again in front of Takiri. Takiri taking on Robinson, but Ben Cohen comes across and helps out.
But you've got to put that down to Dunning. He's been on the field only a couple of minutes. He's swooped onto that ball. His second test, and it's an extra time in a final. He can't believe it, but Australia need this line out.
5.5 minutes remaining in the second period of extra time. Larkham wants it. Mortlock's in as the first receiver. It's right out in front of the goalposts. Here's Stephen Larkham wanting to link up. Out here is Takiri. He just ran out of options there. Now Jeremy Paul, taken by Johnson. Australia only 12 metres out here. Takiri wasn't supposed to get that one. But the Wallabies maintaining possession. England's defence spread right out. Man on man here, and Gregan has a gap. As David Giffen just takes it ahead.
Australia got to head towards the post. Head back infield in case there is an infringement.
George Smith, solidly met by Neil Back and Martin Johnson, the two old soldiers. Larkham now, Rogers! Just taken. Greenwood again, not held in, yes he was held in the tackle. Then he got up, Greenwood was the man who took him low. Once you're tackled and held, you have to release it. Rogers felt he wasn't held, and that's why he went on with it.
Is that the turning point of this match? Matt Rogers being tackled, he didn't think he was held, got up and played on. Andre Watson thought otherwise.
I think Andre Watson was right. I think he's actually gone to the ground. He was still in the motion of moving, but he was actually held. Look at him go to the ground there, held. And then he's got back up again as Greenwood's actually let go of his tackle.
And once again, that man Greenwood has been outstanding tonight in his defence. Look at Martin Johnson, he wants this World Cup.
Neil Back down on the loose ball. He'll take over the captaincy of Leicester. And Australia now with a penalty attempt. In discipline on 2 counts by England.
And it was by the captain himself in Martin Johnson. And surprise, surprise, George Gregan is going for the points.
Andre Watson very pacific about what's happened in the ruck. Elton Flatley, he steps up again for the second time in this game to level it up.
What drama, 17-14. England getting their noses in front through the Johnny Wilkinson penalty. And now Elton Flatley, with the weight of the nation on his 26-year-old shoulders.
Well, if this was a Hollywood script, it'd be a blockbuster bestseller.
And Andre Watson just telling the trainers to take Ben Kay, who's split, to the sideline to fix up his problems, so they get out of the vision of Elton Flatley, who yet again has the pressure of a nation on his shoulders.
Front page of the Daily Telegraph this morning, a picture of Josh Flatley in Dad's headgear, and the headline was "Live the Dream." The 4-year-old Josh Flatley watching in the stand as Dad lines it up to level the scores, if successful. Straight as a die, 17-all.
You can see the determination on Elton Flatley's face. Eddie Jones now knows a couple of minutes left and territory will be the key for the Wallabies and the English side.
If the scores are tied at the completion of extra time, we'll have a 5-minute interval and then a further extra time period shall be played. And that will be sudden death.
And that'll be 10 minutes of pure hell.
10 minutes of sudden death after a 5-minute break. And that looks to be the way we're heading, unless England gets a late opportunity here.
Tim Horan, what do you think here? Do you think England will go for the win and Johnny Wilkinson will slot it?
They will set it up, they'll go midfield. Wilkinson will set it up here and he'll wait for his opportunity.
Cat absolutely monstered.
He's back now behind the pocket. Wilkinson is waiting.
Moore and Smith ready to sprint. And Dawson goes himself. He fooled everyone. Wilkinson still in position here. This is England's chance. Back is there. Australia come through. Martin Johnson and England staying composed here. Wilson still in place for the drop goal. Australia come back. Here it is for Johnny. Has he done it? He sure has. Heartbreaker for the Wallabies. Seconds remaining. And that surely is the stairway to rugby heaven for England.
Sensational. Johnny Wilkinson off his right foot, his unfavoured right foot, 3 points.